afternoon, everyone. I hope you are fine. Today we're talking about the last polymer or the last macromolecules, organic macromolecules, which is nucleic acid. We said before we have protein, carbohydrates, lipids, and the last one is the nucleic acid. Here the nucleic acid, its monomer is called what? It's called the nucleotide. It's called nucleotide. So the monomer of the nucleic acid is macromolecules, which is it's a monomer which is small unit, called nucleotide. Here the nucleotide is Dua. The nucleotide is a structure here. Look, it consists of pentose sugar, phosphate group, and nitrogenous base. Here, pentose sugar or ribose sugar consists of 5 carbon atoms: C1, C2, C3, C4, and C5 connected with phosphate group. So the phosphate group connected with carbon number 5. Here we have a nitrogenous base which connected to number 1. It's okay. So the structure of the nucleotide here, which is pentose sugar, pentose, that means it consists of C, H, and O, and nitrogenous base, which is a nitrogen, and the phosphate group which connected to carbon number 5, which is phosphorus. So here the atoms that found in the nucleotide, they are what? CHON from nitrogenous base and phosphate phosphorus. Okay. Let's start to know the difference between the DNA and the RNA structure. DNA. The DNA is called deoxyribonucleic acid. Deoxyribonucleic acid. We know that before that the cell contains chromosomes, and the inside is a chromosome consists of DNA, and the DNA consists of genes or segments of DNA, so genes, and these genes are found in the DNA. The DNA, they are double strand, or they are twisted ladder like that. And they are connected together by this nitrogenous base, as we remember before. Okay, so here, guys, the twisted ladder here with the DNA are connected by nitrogenous base, which is connected to carbon number 1. Here is the RNA. It's a copy of the DNA. It have only one strand. It also consists of nucleotide, which is a pentose sugar, and the phosphate group and nitrogenous base to connect it also. But here they are single strand, and they have the nucleotide is pentose, and it's called ribose sugar. But here the DNA is deoxyribose. Why it's deoxyribose? As it loses oxygen. So it's called deoxyribonucleic acid. And the other is called ribonucleic acid, which is RNA. It's one strand. DNA, here is the structure. It consists of what? Deoxyribose sugar and phosphate group, which is terminal group, and nitrogenous base to connect the two strands with each other. What are the nitrogenous base? We have 4 types of nitrogenous base. We have nitrogenous base called adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine. And always the complementary of the A is C, and the complementary of G is C. So adenine complementary to thymine, and the guanine is complementary to cytosine. Okay, cytosine complementary to guanine, adenine complementary to thymine. So here is the structure of the DNA. They are here the deoxyribonucleic acid DNA. They have 2 strands. They found inside the nucleus for sure, and they have 4 types of nitrogenous base, which are A, T, G, C. Here is the RNA. It's one strand. It formed first inside the nucleus from the copy of the DNA. After that, it gets out to the cytoplasm. So it's found in the DNA and cytoplasm. It consists of ribose sugar with 6 carbon atoms, and they have phosphate group, and they have a nitrogenous base. So different is the type of sugar and also the type of nitrogenous base. Here, the DNA, the type of sugar is deoxyribonucleic acid, but the RNA is ribose sugar. Also, here the nitrogenous base, they are in the DNA, they are A, G, C, T, but RNA, they have adenine, guanine, cytosine, uracil. So here, look, we have adenine, guanine, cytosine, guanine, but here RNA, we have adenine, cytosine, guanine, and uracil instead of thymine. There are difference between them, but both of them have a phosphate group. Both of them have a phosphate group, and both of them, they are common in the phosphate group. As the nitrogenous base, they are different, as one have uracil and the other have the thymine. Also pentose sugar, one have ribose and the other have deoxyribonucleic acid. A complementary with C and G complementary with G, C complementary with G, U complementary with U, A and cytosine complementary with G. They are the difference between the DNA and RNA here. The DNA is a double strand found inside the nucleus, and they get copied from it to the RNA, which formed inside the nucleus, and then gets out from the nucleus to the cytoplasm. So the location from each one is different. The DNA is called deoxyribonucleic acid, but RNA is called ribonucleic acid. Ribonucleic acid, which is sugar. Here is deoxyribose. It loses oxygen. Here is called ribose sugar. Here have four type of nitrogenous base, which are cytosine, guanine, adenine, thymine. Here they have cytosine, guanine, adenine, uracil. Also, the difference between the DNA and RNA, the DNA carries the genes, carries the genetic material, carries the old genetic material to transfer it from one generation to another. And these genetic materials is responsible for do all vital activities. But it can't express the genetic material unless it forms the RNA, so to form the protein. So here the RNA's function is expressing of genetic material and also for formation or synthesis of the protein for the cell. So that we didn't have RNA, so we can't copy the. If we didn't have DNA, we can't copy RNA, and so we can't form it the protein and forming the enzymes and also hormones and the protein we took before forming enzymes and hormones. So the protein mainly comes from DNA when it make a copy for it, which is the RNA, and after the forming protein. So here, guys, is a big difference between DNA and RNA. So here is a nucleic acid is very important as one carries the genetic material and the other expresses the genetic material and sense of protein. These are all of nucleic acid. I hope you are fine and you study it hard for this part. Thank you.